stuff you like, you can call me Ursa, and some heroes are just not great at holding your attention. So we were going to talk about Stardust today, and I was going to do a review of it and say why I liked it, and so I watched it again. And, yeah. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Stardust, the movie, I've read the book, but it's in storage, so we're just talking about the movie, is the story of how Tristan Thorne becomes a man, which is kind of boring and samey. Oh look, you were a prince all along. Meh. However, it's also the story of whose attention you should seek, whose attention is worth having, and I find that a much more interesting plot thread. Spoiler, Victoria's attention, not worth having. I mean, she doesn't even know how to use a parasol, honestly. The biggest problem I had rewatching Stardust is that Tristan is out-hammed and outgunned and outclassed, frankly. There are some huge stars in this movie and they give it all they've got, and Tristan, the ordinary boy who isn't really so ordinary after all, is just outshone. Pun fully intended. Especially because none of his choices really cost him all that much. I mean, there are moments of fear and terror and mayhem, but contrast. It costs Harry Potter to be the chosen one. He is a magnet for trouble, and so the people around him often get hurt or killed. He's only the chosen one because some wacky nutjob has declared it to be so, and he's skinny and bespectacled and sarcastic, and he's very endearing. Hiccup in the How to Train Your Dragon movies is scrawny and weak and surrounded by stone-cold Viking badasses. He's also distinctive. You wouldn't mistake Hiccup's speech patterns or character design or story arc for anyone else's in the movie. He is distinct. And he is super endearing. I have a lot of feelings about the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, okay? But that is definitely a topic for another day. My point is that you remember Hiccup. You remember Harry in franchises surrounded by fierce, fantastical, outlandish people. You can still find people whose favourite character is Hiccup or whose favourite character is Harry. Is movie Tristan anyone's favourite character? Anyway, no, I'm genuinely curious about this, because I have never found him to have enough of a personality to make it so. I mean, he has some funny lines and, you know, he has some endearing moments with Yvain, but mostly, eh. Now, this is a problem that you find more often with lead female characters. So you've decided that you're going to make a TV show or a movie and you're going to have a female character as your lead. Good for you. But then the doubts start to creep in. Shouldn't she be good? Shouldn't she be morally upstanding? Shouldn't she be a role model? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a character who is good or morally upstanding or a role model, and in the hands of good writers, it's great. After all, Captain America is like a giant red, white and blue Boy Scout and everybody likes him, right? If your main character is a lady person and a goody two-shoes and you have a variety of female characters, then they're just one part of a more diverse whole, and that's grand. See Hermione Granger, who's not the main character, I know, but is distinct from Ginny or Luna or Professor McGonagall or Bellatrix or Narcissa or whoever. Okay, to take a couple of other female examples, let's go to Nickelodeon. The main character of iCarly is Carly Shay, but she's not most people's favourite character. They prefer the wacky big brother Spencer, or nerdy Freddy, or Sam, jerk with a heart of slightly less jerk. Or Victorious, which has as its main character Tori Vega. Now Tori is fine, and Carly is fine, but compared to Dolly Daydream Cat, or scissor happy goth type Jade, or even just Beck with his perfect hair, they don't tend to get picked as people's favourite characters. That's one reason the spin-off show is Sam and Cat, not Carly and Tori. And yes, it can be difficult to make main characters who have to be relatable also interesting and nuanced, but it can be done. Compare again Harry or Hiccup to Tristan. Harry and Hiccup are distinct. They have different personalities. They are a marked contrast to the world around them, which is also true of Tristan, but Harry and Hiccup still manage to be interesting and engaging, whereas Tristan, when someone else is on the screen, you're paying attention to them, not to him. Tristan's arc is learning to do things rather than just sort of thinking about them, and learning who to trust. Oh, and also you're king now. Yeah, I know I mentioned that earlier, but the audience know it. so it doesn't come totally out of nowhere, but there's no build-up for Tristan. It's not a crowning achievement, no pun intended. It's just, oh, yeah, and hey, I guess you beat the witch, and also you're king now, woo! And regardless of him being king, or just having completed his arc or whatever, he just fades next to, say, Robert DeNiro as a gay pirate captain who likes to wear dresses. Or Michelle Pfeiffer hamming it up as the witch who wants to cut out Yvain's heart. Or even Yvain, who has my favourite line of the whole movie.
But of course! Nothing says romance like the gift of a kidnapped, injured woman.
I mean, I don't hate Stardust. I do quite like it, and I would recommend it if you're into that sort of fantasy kind of thing, but you don't watch for Tristan. You watch for this guy. Or this lady. Or this lady. And they will be the reasons that you like Stardust or you don't. I doubt it'll have much to do with him.